Wake up! What? Today? My birthday? Oh, Gary, you know I never pay attention to those sorts of things.
Heyo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here, today with another video. Today we're going to be doing another week of big news. This week, very long. So I guess without further ado, let's go over what's up with JP, what's up with Global this week on Vanguard 0. So, last week we ended up with the birthday of Kazuma Shoji, the player for Luward in Vanguard G. We got another grade 4 actually, and this one surprised me. It's the epitome of knowledge, Sylvest, grade 4, 13k. When this is placed, draw one card, Vanguard rearguard, and when this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more rearguards, get plus 10k. This card was actually a promo that came with the Aquaforce trial deck. I believe TD07, and so it also had an expiry date because Bushiroad was probably playtesting with the idea of grade 4 back then. So this is really interesting that they actually brought it back. Is this card going to see play? Probably not. It's probably just there because memes. You know, being stuck on grade 4 is quite detrimental, not being able to switch around your grade 3s. And with the reveal of Leopold Reverse last week, we already know how strong that card is. It's Leopold X Polaris, the love story. And so Sylvest, probably not the best card, but definitely brings back memories. Next up, there is Maintenance that, you know, you probably went through already. The next season, there is Fromage as the reward. For the sleeves, you have Balsister Parfait, and apparently it isn't actually Lucia Reverse, it is actually Nouveau Vague. So that's just something to note. It's a mistake. So yeah, it ended up being the Nouveau Vague, so there's that. And then Erratas. So if you haven't checked out the Errata video, be sure to check that out. I do think that I brought up some interesting comments, but here we have more. This time, for a very long time, Vanguard 0 never had these big nerfs, and this is one of those rare instances that nobody expected. First of all, Linchu got nerfed to retire one of your opponent's grade 1 or above rearguards. So no longer retiring anything, it's restricted now. Saishin, retiring only grade 1 rearguards. So this definitely is in line with what they did with Tejas, Wyvern Strike Tejas, where a lot of the deck's identity is based on their starting Vanguard, and these cards were hindering that, right? Like, in terms of deck building, the only card that you can guarantee to be on your board and you can make plays with from turn 1, assuming you ride grade 1, is your starter. So having cards like Saishin or Linshu shutting down this consistency is really detrimental, and this is why they switched it up, I believe. Given this change, I believe that Saishin will see a lot less play, and Linshu will probably be the go-to. Even if you are playing more non-Eradicator names, Linshu just has more versatility, and you're going to eventually ride into a grade 3 Eradicator anyways, so since you're not going to retire grade 0s anyways, so I guess you can go with Linshu. And I predict that we will be seeing more Dragonic Death Scythe, so because it still can retire grade 2s or below, which includes grade 0s. So there's just something like that, I guess. Next is Unicorn. Unicorn is a unicorn actually. Originally, I expected a change like this, but I guess with the release of Set 12, they thought it's okay. Let's have Link Joker have some fun because they're not getting Chaos Breaker Dragon yet. Now they're gonna restrict it to only locking back row. So yeah, they said that they were gonna hold off on front row locks and don't give that many front row lock options, and this is probably you know, they noticed that, you know, Unicorn is just such a versatile tool, such a versatile card, and they gotta fix it up before they release Chaos Breaker Dragon. So that's just something to note. And next, Coco got a buff. Coco is pretty good. So it's the same skill on place, check top card, you can put it to the top or bottom, but if it is the Sentinel, you can add it to your hand. So if you check the Sentinel, you know, usually if you play the TZG, you know, you'll keep it on top because you'll drive check and draw into it, right? But in Zero, your drive checks that are non-triggers go to the bottom of the deck. So now they're basically fixing it to give OTT that utility that they were supposed to have from the TCG. And it is definitely very valuable, especially since most people will probably have, you know, 1 or 2 copies or even a playset because it was a ranked reward. So that's definitely neat. Next up, Gatling Claw Dragon, the Kagero version of Saishin. So they shifted from return grade 0s to return grade 1s. So they're paying more attention to that, which is great. And then with Clotus, it is now Counterblast 2 to search for a Blaster Dark instead of Counterblast 1. So that's definitely interesting. And Counterblast 2 in Revengers or Shadow Paladin as a whole, you know, you don't have a lot of counter charge options. You have a lot of cards that cost Counterblast. And so definitely need to reconsider if you want to play this or not. Maybe Creeping Dark Gold is the better choice now. And one last buff, we have Blade Wing Ragi. So this first skill, if you have 15 or more soul, plus 15 plus 2 crit, this is the same thing. When placed, put 3 cards with the same card name as one of your rear guards from your deck into your soul. So this is the same, but they got a new skill. When it attacks, soul charge 1 plus 1k. So that's great. I think having that extra soul charge on attack definitely alleviates that cost. But at the same time, sometimes you might deck out faster. So there's a trade-off, but generally I think this is a buff. Definitely. All right, so we see a list of cards that you can check out yourself. Fromage skill. If you have 4 or more, plus 4. If you have 4 or more, before it was 4 or more plus 4, now it's 4 more plus 5, so it's now 16k numbers. So that's neat. Leopold now says all of your rearguards get the following ability, that when they get retired, you get to call it to an open rearguard circle. So there's definitely more possibilities with your retire combos now. And Tejas used to be a rearguard only, and now it's a Vanguard rearguard. But I don't think this is an actual change, I believe. But yeah, is this an actual change? I don't think so. But let me know down below, I guess. Yeah, Tejas is unnerfed, so they're still nerfed. It's still rearguard only. So there's that. Next up, we have the calendar. So we're starting with the new set, and then anniversary, which is the title video of this video. You have some interesting stuff that we will go over right now. Nubatama, yes. If you are playing JP, you will know these cards. So I'm just going to skip through it really quick. When it attacks, boosts up Vanguard, Soul Blast 2 to put 2 cards from your opponent's bind zone into the drop zone. So a lot of the cards is binding your opponent's units, and so this was how you effectively retire them. Stealth Beast, Tamagahime, 1 place, bind 1, exactly what we talked about just now. But it also acts as like a Desert Gunner, right? You bind your opponent's grade 2s, they lose that intercept for that turn, and that's already good enough in my book. The difference is Desert Gunner like leaves it on the board, while Tamagahime puts the unit back to their hand so they can reuse those on play skills or on hit skills more safely. So that's something to note. And also sometimes even if you Desert Gunner, you still want that target to attack into if your opponent hits triggers or whatever. And with Tamagahime, you don't have that option. But definitely there are trade-offs, but still, you know, being able to get a Desert Gunner in a different clan is definitely still net positive overall. Kurijiri Kongo. Shura Stealth Dragon skill is when rolled upon, plus 10, choose a random card from your opponent's hand and bind it. Return it to the hand at the end of turn. Then if your opponent discards a card from their hand at the start, then your opponent discards a card from their hand at the next turn. And if your opponent has 3 or less, plus 3. So in the clan overview video, clan tier list, if you've played any card game before, you know hand destruction is a really strong tool. Is it stronger in Zero or the TCG? That's up to debate. You know, like in the TCG you have to guard with it. In Zero you don't draw as much because drive checks don't go to hand. Trade-offs. I mean, there are slight differences, but overall, hand destruction, card destruction is still strong. So changing the clause to having them discard a card randomly at the start of the turn is definitely a decent fix. Voidmaster, the original Grade 3 Nubatama. This card actually came out from the first set of Vanguard TCG, and they didn't even have a complete deck back then. 9k, during your turn, if you have more cards than your opponent, this gets plus 3. Vanguard Rearguard, when it hits, Counterblast 2 to have your opponent discard a card from their hand at the start of their next turn. Neat. And then same thing here. When it boosts, Counterblast 2, discard 1. So yeah, Dreadmaster. So we have some other cards. Shura Stealth Dragon, Kabuki Kongo. Double rare, limit break 4. When it attacks, counterblast 1 to get plus 10. Bind all of your opponent's rear guards, or return those cards from the bind zone to your hand at the end of turn. So you get to mass bind. And then you can retire with your starter if you want. When it hits, Soul Blast 2, Counterblast 1 to put 2 cards from your opponent's bind zone into the drop zone. So even without the starter, you can still do the pseudo retires. And generally, it is going to be the back row retires, but you know there's only 13 grade 1s in this game, so it's still definitely valuable. Shura Stealth Dragon, Yozakura Kongo. Lots of Congos. Limit break 4, once per turn. If your opponent has 4 more cards, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, plus 10. Your opponent chooses 2 random cards from their hand and bind them, return them at the end of turn. When this attacks, counterblast 1, counterblast 2, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 2, to put 2 cards from your opponent's bind zone into your drop zone. So these 2 cards act very similarly, but this is act, and this is on attack Vanguard. So the difference is, and this is, you know, binding from hand, right? Binding from hand, and this is binding from field. So the good thing about binding from hand is that you could bind your opponent's perfect guards and like sentinels before your battle phase, while Kabuki Kongo is more about field disruption. So which one will you play? They both look pretty good, and they're both double rare, so I'm sure everyone will get a chance to play with them. And you know, it's definitely great options. And lastly, Tempest Stealth Rogue Fuki, grade 1 rare. If your opponent has 3 or more cards, counterblast 1, put it into soul, choose a random card from your opponent's hand and bind it. Return that card from the bind zone to the hand at the end of the turn. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely looks like a lot of fun. And oh, okay, so here it says Nubatama starts off turn and discard occurs before the turn draw and R of your choice. So that's really neat. I think it includes some way to play around it, I suppose. Next up, we have Clan Event Gachas. So this is like normal pack gachas, right? So there is going to be 2. The first one includes Tajikaze, Grand Blue, and Murakumo. The next one includes Spike Brothers, Neo Nectars, and Mega Colony. Yep, exactly. So that's pretty interesting. That's definitely very interesting to see what they're doing. And like we said, you know, previously with clan events, right? Like, it is hard to catch up. It definitely is. And this is probably a good way to give people a chance that want to main these clans a chance to pick it up. In addition, some clans like Grand Blue and Neo Nectars are going to be main character clans, basically main character clans in the future. So as they get more support, like Bloom, for example, in the G era, it is, you know, it's probably a better thing to fix now than later. So that's nice. There is going to be a Ren birthday gacha. That's super neat. We get the Fukuhara Kocho, Fukuhara High School kind of tag, and a little nice Ren ponytail profile picture. Some tournament informations. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. And then the Vanguard Zero Grand Final. So the top of all of these, like the original summer, autumn, winter will come together and I guess, you know, play it out. We have a little timeline. So this is really nostalgic. Of course, the global timeline is slightly different. We just had the Christmas event. It just started for us. Well, it was the first event in JP, which is why we're playing with old cards like Wingle and Alfred and Soul Saver. There's a New Year event that we never had, so hopefully we get that, and on and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely really neat. Suisei is here, so we're gonna get the Murakumo in the next half of the month. So it's slightly different, but overall, it's still a nice way to reminisce what we've gone through. We've had a lot of different stuff happen, and a lot of things like stuff here to look forward to. So definitely looking forward to that. Next up, welcome Holy Night Party. In December 18th, we will be getting Dark Regular and Pale Moon skins for Tetsu and Asuka. So I really like it. Hopefully we get to see how the skins or like the home menu screens look. And I know dice events aren't the most enticing for everyone, but you know, what can I say? Play them for at least the 3 packs, right? You can still get 3 packs by just playing casually. So then we have the cake, which is in the SpongeBob meme. Then we have the reveal for the anniversary gacha. So how it works is there's 2 triple rares for each clan. and I believe 3 double rares, 3 to 4 double rares, not here. But yeah, I think it's a pretty neat collection. You know, you have, they basically chose the staples and the high value cards that will probably last you for a while. So for example, you know, Mordred Phantom Raging Form, you still get Ganslot in Royal Paladin. You will still see Dreamy Fortress in Pale Moon. You will, you know, stuff like that. I think, you know, Dauntless Descendants, Golem Buster, you know, these are still staples. Infinite Zero, Nebula Lord, Edel Rose, and Demon Chariot. Like, they didn't even choose to include any of the other bosses because honestly, Edel Rose and Chariot are you know, going to be staples, right? Like one or the other as heal triggers. So that's just something that I think is pretty neat. Next up, if you use Line, they're going to have stickers, which is super cute. I don't use Line, but I'm down to check out what they have. Legion Era is announced, so it is they are going to work on that, so don't worry about it. It's super cool. And then there is missions. So the team has to complete 30 different Aichi fights, 30 Kai fights, and 30 event clan fights. And how this works is basically you can do if you and your friend plays, you know, I play an Aichi clan, you play a Kai clan. We both get counted as one of each. So we complete, you know, one of Aichi mission and one of Kai mission. So definitely try to organize that, optimize that if you want to. If you want to know the list of, you know, the distribution of the clans, just go to the Discord page or just go check out the information and you'll find out more of that. We have the birthday for Eska, and then we have the birthday for Shoma. You know, some V era, some G era representation. Now let's go back to the global news and check out what's up. Let's see what we have here. All right, so last week we ended off with seeing, you know, the Christmas event and all that stuff. And now we will be seeing some, we obviously have the Dazzling Diva Gacha, and we have the actually rank reward that everyone should be familiar with. Then we have 4 skins. We have Rekka here, we have Rekka here, Korin here, Suiko here, and then Emmy. So honestly, like I thought that you know, like they should have included some of these skins with a 200 V metal bundle, but I guess, you know, 50 V metal isn't that bad, but yeah, some skins only had one skin that came with the 200 V metal, some had like multiple, so you know, I don't, it's not very consistent. Anyways, so the V coupons right now with the tournament coupons, we have the Ulk, so they're different art but same skill, so pick and choose which one you want or mix and match. And we have CEO and Perfect Riser from their rank rewards if you missed them. Next up, with the calendar, you know, you can probably check that out yourself. We have the Suisei event right now, so that's super cool and super fun. Hololive representation, and we will be having some Murakumo stuff in the next half of the month. So definitely looking forward to that. Definitely very exciting, but right now just focusing on simping, and that's all I'm doing. So I guess that's it for this video. Let me know down below what you're most excited for, you know, in terms of the news or in terms of what's going to come up soon. For Global, is it the Murakumo event? Are you still busy simping like myself? For JP, you know, like what are you looking forward to? Are you finishing up your missions yet? Let me know down below what is going up with you, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.